Hi everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why some people seem to care so much about the planet, especially when it means doing hard things now for people in the future? Well, this new study might have a clue. What if your ability to feel for others could actually shape how you feel about fighting climate change, even for people you'll never meet? That is the big question researchers explored in this fascinating study. They looked at something called trait interpersonal empathy, basically how naturally you tend to understand and care about the feelings and well-being of other people. Now we know empathy often makes us want to help those around us. But what about people far away in time, like future generations who will face the brunt of climate change if we don't act? The researchers wanted to see if people who are generally more empathetic also support these big, sometimes difficult, changes we need to make for the environment. But they didn't just stop there. They also wanted to figure out how empathy might lead to this support. Their idea was that maybe empathy makes us care more about people who are far away, including those who haven't even been born yet. Think about the huge environmental problems we're facing. It is not just about recycling a plastic bottle. Experts are saying we need really big, fundamental changes to our societies. These are called transformative environmental measures. They could mean things like accepting stricter rules that might slow down our economy or change our way of life, all to protect the planet for the future. The tricky part is, we often don't see the biggest benefits of these actions. They primarily help future generations. So it makes sense that people might not get super excited about them compared to easier, smaller actions. This is where empathy comes in. Empathy is like an emotional radar that helps us tune into what others are feeling and understand their perspective. Traditionally, we think of empathy in connection with someone right in front of us, but there is a growing idea that empathy can actually stretch much farther. It can extend to people who are abstract, who we can only imagine, or who don't even exist yet. The study's core idea was that empathy might act like a bridge. It helps us connect with people who are temporally distant, meaning in the future. If you are good at feeling for others, you might be better at imagining the struggles of future generations dealing with environmental disasters. And this future-focused concern, the researchers hypothesized, would then make you more likely to support those big, transformative environmental actions today, even if they cost us something. So how did they test this? They gathered a group of 200 adults in Sweden, trying to make sure the group presented the general population in terms of age and gender. They used an online survey to ask people questions about their empathy, their concern for future generations, and their willingness to support these major environmental changes. For empathy, they used established questionnaires that measure two key parts of empathy: empathic concern, which is about feeling compassion and warmth for others, and perspective taking, which is about being able to see things from someone else's point of view, to measure support for transformative environmental measures. They asked people if they DAC things like stricter regulations, even if they hurt the economy now, or drastic actions to prevent climate collapse, even if they bend current laws, and to capture concern for future generations. They developed new questions asking people if they thought about what life would be like for future generations, and if they felt sad about how our actions might harm them. After collecting all this data, they used a fancy statistical technique called structural equation modeling. Don't let that scare you. Think of it like building a sophisticated model to see how different pieces of information fit together and influence each other, like a chain reaction. What did they find? Drumroll please. The results were pretty clear. People who scored higher on both empathic concern and perspective taking were also more likely to support these big, transformative environmental measures. So that first part of the hypothesis held up, but the really interesting part was the how. The study found that concern for future generations acted as a middleman, a mediator. Empathy didn't directly jump to support for big environmental changes for most people. Instead, empathy first boosted their concern for future generations. And it was that concern, that feeling for people in the future, that then led them to support drastic actions today. It was like empathy opened the door to caring about the future, and that care then motivated them to act. So, what does this all mean? The researchers suggest that a core part of why some people support these tough environmental policies might be that their empathy allows them to care about those who aren't here yet. It is a powerful reminder that our capacity to feel for others can extend far beyond our immediate circle, even across time itself. This is a significant finding because, as the paper mentions, getting people to agree to these big, costly changes has always been a challenge. And here is a really nuanced point. When the researchers looked closer, especially after accounting for other factors like age and political leaning, they noticed that the empathic concern part of empathy, the feeling of warmth and compassion, seemed to be a stronger driver for supporting these measures than perspective taking, which is more about understanding someone's viewpoint. This suggests that the emotional connection might be more crucial than just cognitively understanding the problem for motivating sacrifice. Now, like all good science, this study has its limits. It was a snapshot in time, a cross-sectional study. That means it can show us that these things are related, but it can't definitively prove that empathy causes support for environmental measures. It's possible that people who already support environmental measures are also more empathetic. And the study was done in Sweden, a country with a strong welfare system and high trust in institutions. So these results might not apply everywhere. Also, they use new measures for concern for future generations and support for transformative environmental measures, which are great starting points, but would benefit from more testing with larger groups. So, what's the takeaway for us? This research gives us a really interesting insight into the psychology behind supporting difficult environmental actions. It suggests that focusing on empathy and nurturing our ability to care about those who will come after us could be a powerful way to build support for the kind of big changes we need. Instead of just talking about the numbers or the technical solutions, perhaps focusing on the human element, the well-being of future generations could tap into our innate empathic tendencies and make us more willing to make those sacrifices today. It's a hopeful message that our capacity for caring can be a driving force for planetary health, connecting our hearts to a sustainable future. This study opens up exciting avenues for future research, like experimental studies to see if we can actually boost support for environmental measures by encouraging empathy, or cross-cultural studies to see if these links hold true in different parts of the world. What do you think about this? Does your empathy extend to future generations when you think about environmental issues? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more science made simple, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.